The story so far. You've found yourself in possession of a Nile Empire dirigible that you retrieved from the Cloudmaster, a Nile villain who was in the Yucatan area doing nefarious things for his lord and master, the mighty Pharaoh Mobius. You contacted base and have been given a task to fly this Zeppelin back to North Africa. You decided to head down the coast around the north bit of South America, to the point where Brazil and Africa are the closest together that they can be, and continued onwards. Last week, however, you found yourselves caught up.
Did anything happen after caught up with?
Is it just me? It's gone quiet.
Quiet
Nope.
for me.
What?
No, where's he gone?
Sorry, mic went off for a second there. So you were in the midst of a midnight Central Atlantic storm. You had berthed, moored, put the thing in a holding pattern. It is a dirigible after all. And in the darkness, with lightning of the storm flashing outside, Durak was disturbed by a disquiet spirit of some kind. And this ghostly, gaseous creature has been terrorizing you from the shadows for about the last half an hour. It would seem it is not difficult to destroy, but it is persistent and it keeps coming back. It is mostly translucent. It has a smell of rotten eggs about it, which at least one of you has managed to discern that it's likely that its body is formed of hydrogen. It has sharp claws made of hydrogen ice, so there is a very cold feel around the creature. After its second or third return, it took out the lights. So the gondola of the dirigible was plunged into nigh-on absolute darkness. With some swift investigation from your recently returned fellow, Sam, who, for reasons that have not yet been explained, was incarcerated in a coffin/sarcophagus within one of the rooms of the dirigible, you have determined that there is a source of some unquiet magic that the essence of this gaseous horror keeps returning to. So, to a man, but not to a dwarf, you decided to venture into the rigid envelope of the dread Zeppelin and search out whatever is containing the cause of this gaseous horror's consistent return. You were about 2/3 of the way down the dirigible, following some clues that Dr. Sanders and some others had managed to ascertain. The fact that there was an item of organic material, or listed as organic materials, that was due for delivery by the Cloudmaster to somebody. You ascertained possibly Barrett Carr, but you're still looking into that. That was not accounted for in the other cargo that you've found. And it was listed with an identification code of XH3. You had managed to work out that that possibly refers to, I think, what were the two things you'd said? Exterior hull or exterior hydrogen?
Yep.
And that based on the dirigible's envelope and the positioning of the hydrogen bladders within that envelope, them being in 4 pairs going from the front of the vessel to the rear, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd headed up into the envelope, darkened gantries being illuminated just slightly by Father Theo's smart Bible and his shiny white holographic breastplate. You began to pick your way through the cramped conditions knowing that at certain places, mere feet above your head, there is a membrane that is holding back the hydrogen that is keeping you aloft. We ended just as I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it Abram or Theo that shot it last? No, it wasn't. It was Ryoko, who, by the way, you've not logged into Fantasy Grounds yet, Alexander.
Ryoko did an electric thing, didn't she?
Yep. Ryoko was the last one to strike at the gaseous beast, and the electricity spark from her sword ignited the creature in its entirety, and like in a split second, it wasn't a big hoary death explosion, it was like and it had burned away, possibly searing Ryoko's hair slightly. That is where we left it.
Does that mean the ship's on fire? Just to
No, it
clarify.
doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't, but there is a smell of burning upstairs. However, before we return to our individuals upstairs, does anyone have any questions about anything that's been gone on so far?
I see myself by myself.
No. Yeah, I'm just happy
No.
that during the horror story, Durak's the one that's wandered off on his own.
We haven't wandered off.
I
You wandered
haven't-
off and left him on his own.
Yeah.
Oh.
Keep clear there. I decided me and my claws were a bad thing to be near a big envelope.
Very good. Yeah, here. Yeah.
Be a good idea. One of the other things to note is that shortly after the gaseous creature appeared, probably just after its third appearance, you were all overcome with a familiar feeling, with the exception of Sam, who wasn't there at the time, that you've encountered 2 or 3 times before, and some of you very familiar because it is your native cosm. But you got the distinct feeling that whereas initially you were in a mixed Nile Empire core Earth zone, and those of you that made an appropriate reality check were able to sense that since that third appearance of the creature, the sense of the local reality being mixed with core Earth was subsumed and faded with a sort of a deep in your gut feeling of fear as the horror reality of Arosh has come into sway over the area. For reasons you do not yet know, but that is where you currently are. So, up in the gloom of the envelope, I believe that Dr. Sanders was enacting a repair that you had managed to get 1 success out of the requisite 5 that you need to try to repair the lights, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as the rest of you gather your breath and look around into the gloomy half light up in the envelope, Dr. Sanders, go ahead and make another skill check to continue the repair. I believe we'd said it was difficulty 12. And you were using science for this. Right.
Oh, yes.
Quick question.
Yes,
What
he was.
are you using to do the repairs?
I think he's using Ryoko.
Are you using your own tools or other locally sourced tools?
I mean, I don't know how much I would have found, but I do carry. Let's see. I do carry some stuff on me that it would be more natural for me to use.
So the worst thing that happens is as you're pulling the things together, because this scene you haven't disconnected, so your Realm Runner perk kicks in. So you feel a brief moment of alienness, but then you remember yourself because you've got a really strong sense of self-identity. And but you look down and that's not good. You over tightened whatever it was you were tightening, and part of the mooring that is holding this relatively thick cable that's been slashed through by the creature's claws. Part of the mooring is just wrenched away from the bulkhead that it was attached to, and you're now looking at it, and for some reason, how it's bent and stretched, the two ends of the severed cable, when you try to pull them back together, they're sort of stopping about an inch and a half apart from one another.
God damn it.
Your next repair roll, if you decide to continue attempting repair, is difficulty 15, not 12.
Oh. Well, sure. Have I got anything better to do?
Well, I was about to ask the others. Are you standing around waiting for Dr. Dick to finish his DIY, or are you leaving him here and moving onwards through the bulk of the envelope?
I'll be continuing. But what you do?
You don't want lights?
Yeah. Well,
Against you.
Theo would come. We need to grab this thing. Hadn't the thing come and attacked us?
Yeah, that was where we left it, but Ryoko had slashed and it had gone.
Oh, right.
It'll be back, don't you worry.
I'll look at Dr. Dick, then I'll look at Abram, as Abram's wandering off, and I'll look at Dr. Dick again, because I was going to help to Dr. Dick, and I don't know where I go. Okay, tall.
Stop this thing.
I'll shrug and wander.
Stop the lights I'm after.
I suppose we can fix the lighting later.
Okay, I'll skip along after. Well, skip. I will advance cautiously
We'll keep coming
after
back.
Abram.
Daintily.
Okay. After a brief abortive attempt at skipping, which is probably dangerous in this particular
Yes,
environment,
no skipping.
you slowly move onwards. At this point, there's been no follow-up from the creature just yet. Abram, make me your choice, finder evidence analysis as you're moving forwards.
Man. Blind.
Okay, who's immediately behind Abram?
I'll apologise to them straight away.
Ryoko, Sam, you can both make a similar roll, evidence analysis or find, your choice.
Where am I to them? They're
Ooh.
above me, aren't they? Am I
See,
just here?
20 followed by 1.
You
Nice.
are currently below and significantly ahead of them. If you imagine with a Zeppelin, approximations, let's say the gondolas may be 20 meters end to end. It's probably a little bit more than that. The Zeppelin itself is more like 80, 90 meters end to
Yeah.
end. And the gondola is sort of attached, sort of central and just slightly back a bit. Okay, so Ryoko got an 18. You both got 18s. As you're walking, both of you, Ryoko and Sam, you look up as you're crossing another gap where to the left and right of you the gas bladders stop, and you've got a gap where ahead of you is now the fourth pair of gas bladders, and you're both looking left and right, noticing this gantry runs down the middle, and you've not seen any turnings left or right to go in either direction yet. And you're peering into the dim gloom. You can't really see very far because of the curve of the thing. Your line of sight is quickly blocked by intervening obstacles such as the air bladder, the hydrogen bladders themselves. But at this point between the two, you're looking and you can see sort of rigid girdering around the outside, but you can't really see anywhere that you're intended to walk to get to either side of the bladder. And at this point you realize, well, you thought that the thing was back near bladder pair number 3, but so far you've not seen anything that looks like ladders or rungs or anything to actually get up, because at the moment you're at the bottom of the envelope. You suspect this thing is, well, if you've not found it yet, it's either on the wall you can't see or it's on top of the envelope somewhere. Did Sam drop his... You dropped your astral form, didn't you? Because you were... I remember the other thing was attacking your silver cord briefly, wasn't it?
Yeah, the thing is called Abraham, what?
I don't think Kiri's spoken yet.
He might have been called away. He does have family. But you can relay this to Abram, and if you do so, Abram, you realise that, looking at it now, yeah, so far in your route from the access hatch back at the gondola to the point where you're now, probably you've got about 25% of the length of the dirigible left. You haven't seen anything yet to take you upwards. And apparently, Kerry's mic isn't working. It was earlier. Don't forget Discord, push to talk, admin access, all that sort of stuff.
You have to run the program with admin. There you go. He's back.
That's better.
What was he saying?
Is it?
So, hang on. The gist of it was we can't find a way up.
So far, you have not seen anything within immediate view that would suggest a way up. Not to the left or the right of you. Obviously, you've still got a significant amount of the dirigible in front of you and even more behind, but the direction you're travelling, you've got about 25% of the length of the balloon left.
So, Dr. Dick would probably have, while fiddling with all the onboard systems and whatnot, wouldn't he have gotten like some sort of overview of the construction of the thing?
Yeah, it's a rigid envelope at the top. You haven't yet gone up there to look at what's actually present, but you do know that the engine is, or the generator, as you understand it, because you've found no evidence of fuel on this vessel so far. But the generator is at the rear of the envelope, so that is still ahead of you.
Yeah, but no schematics or anything like that.
There wasn't a superstructure schematic like that anywhere. No, the best you found was what you found about half an hour ago, where you were able to drag out of the systems a sort of a circuit diagram.
All right.
But you trudge forwards. You get towards the rear, and the engine of this thing is quite quiet. It doesn't look like any kind of internal combustion engine that you've previously seen, Dr. Sanders, or anybody you've previously seen, really. There are quite a few cables coming out of it. It's quite large, probably sort of half the size of the average family car. There is an indicator, or a series of indicators on the front that seem to imply there is a fuel source, but it is currently showing roughly between 97 and 98% still full. And you've been using it for the last week, so clearly whatever fuel this thing uses, maybe this sucker's nuclear, to quote popular movies. But you do note that you can hear, above the sound of the storm outside, the dull thwob, thwob, thwob of the massive fans that drive this thing slowly turning, keeping you at station keeping. And there are, hang on, I think we've just got an Amazon delivery, so the dog's going to go mental. There are 2 narrow runged ladders heading upwards.
rung ladders going up.
Yeah, you first, Abram.
Okay. Hold it steady.
I'm just volunteering you. I'll hold it. Yes.
You seem quite determined to get to this thing and try and
Kill it.
either neutralize it or somehow get you to neutralize it with your powers, maybe.
I'll try.
At least want to see it. I feel there may be more than one way to, or not more than one way to kill it, but only like one specific way to kill it, rather.
Yeah.
If it's fear, it might be.
Yeah, sorry, that was replacement phone parts that were being delivered by 10 p.m. today, and they did.
Fair enough.
Good.
The ladder seems quite sturdy, and currently there's a gentle sway to the vehicle that you're in, as given its size, the storm outside is still buffeting it. Is anyone following you up? The ladder's maybe sort of 7 or 8 meters before it hits darkness above you. So, handing it?
Yep. Taking it steady and carefully. And I don't know if they're holding it steady. That might be easier to start.
Well, it's a rigid metal.
Oh, okay, it's not a rope.
It's not a rope. It's sort of like bolted or welded in place, and then it's connected at various points to the superstructure. So it's quite solid. About 15 meters up, you can look down and see Father Theo below you, glowing like a beacon. At this point, most of the light is sort of half light, so whatever you're looking at is in shadow. But about 50 feet up, you do in fact hit the upper surface of the envelope with what looks like a hatch of some kind.
I presumably push the hatch.
There's a release mechanism, and the instant you crank it up, the sound from outside increases to a deafening roar of blasts of wind. You're almost immediately drenched from rain. Give me a quick strength check.
Yeah, this is where it goes wrong.
Only difficulty 10.
You say that.
Yeah. Within about you raise it about 4 or 5 inches, and then a gust of storm force wind rips it out of your hand, and you see and then hear it on the superstructure outside. You pull yourself up. I don't know. Does Abram wear a hat? I know that your token does, but I don't think your image does.
I don't wear a hat.
So you poke your head out into the midnight black storm outside, and you look around, and behind you, so going back up the length of the dirigible, you can see that the superstructure of the thing has been designed in such a way that there are low handholds, even though it's what you're looking at the moment, it's quite an acute angle at the back. The handholds go up and then disappear over the continually narrowing shallow angle of the top of the envelope. What are you doing?
Man. Check to see if anyone's following.
You look down. Is anybody behind Abram on the ladder?
I am.
Is Sam nearby?
I'm probably at the bottom of the ladder because I think it would get very crowded if we all followed each other.
I was just wondering if you had could you see this thing, couldn't you? I believe?
Yeah, you can. Oh, I remember. You've got detect magic on. You are still sensing things. I believe the range of detect magic was sufficient. Yeah, you can still sense it about a quarter of the length of the envelope back in the other direction. Yes, definitely still above you. Giving a quick workout in your head, yeah, above, and you can't make out exactly, but possibly where the extent of the envelope of the dirigible. And as you're concentrating on it, it pulses slightly with magical energy. And you then sense the separation of the creature moving away from the...
I shout, it's coming.
It's not. It's going in the opposite direction to you.
Hey, let's go for Dwarfy.
I feel picked on.
The okay sign. Because you probably can't hear anything.
Right, yeah, I probably can't hear the word you're saying.
Yeah.
You what?
What does that mean? I haven't got the cultural reference to understand something that derived
What?
from
There's-
the late
there's a
20s when
hole
I'm
in
actually
the-
from the late 1800s.
Is that there's a hole in the roof? What is that circle? What are you doing?
Thumbs up.
That might work. Yeah, thumbs up. That's good. That's. I think that's universal. Except in worlds where they don't have thumbs. But luckily, none of those have invaded us yet. Although saying that, the one thing I always forget to tell you is that dinos are proper weird because they have 2 thumbs. So, you know, we've got a single opposable thumb and 4 fingers. They've got 3 fingers and 2 opposable thumbs. Decide what that implication has, as you will.
You can never have too many
11
thumbs.
year
surely.
olds. Everything's okay. Everything's fairly okay.
So I'll head to where the direction that he indicated that he thought it was or could see.
Okay. So as Abram clambers out, and you're holding on, and the handholds are quite sturdy at this point. As Abram clambers out, feeling your body pushed left and right by the Atlantic storm winds, we will see the camera shift. So cinematically, it pans away into the storm, and then pans right and zooms down the length of the dirigible, and then flies down to the muted half light coming from one of the windows of the main lounge area of the gondola.
So a naked dwarf in there while everyone else is out.
Naked? Why is he naked?
Durak, whereabouts in the gondola are you at the moment?
I was in the kitchen.
No, you were at the toilet figuring it out.
Nope, I did
I
not.
had that discussion. He doesn't want to risk this connection
We
for
spoke
like
about
a full
it, but
flush.
I was in the kitchen because I was filtering through the food.
Okay, you're filtering through the food. Give me a find check as you're
Ooh,
filtering through the food.
I'm rolling a 60 and finding all the good stuff.
If he opens a tin can,
I don't think you
Essentially,
get
depends how he
possible.
opens it.
I don't think you get possible mishap from opening food.
No, not from find checks. So you're going through. What are you looking for? Anything in particular? Just something to
Food.
eat?
Yeah, just a snack. You know how it is. You get hungry when you wake up. You woke up at
find
night, there ghost trying to
some-
kill you.
Yeah, you find some relatively palatable dried sausage. It's been sliced up and it's wrapped up in some greaseproof paper,
So I
which
know who's
you
someone
managed
who's-
to
I
work
know
your
someone
way
who's-
through.
I know someone who's jealous.
I like sausage. It's probably my sausage.
You put yourself a plate of that together. There's some quite dry cheese as well.
No, what's the
And,
tech level of cheese?
Well, you put yourself a small snack together, and you begin to walk back to the lounge. You want to eat it in comfort. As you step into the lounge, a movement catches your eye off to the right. Sat quite nonchalantly in one of the couches is an individual you have never met before. And if you give me a second, I will.
Oh, is the spirit actually going to talk to me now?
No.
I mean, no.
you're eating its sausages.
Oh God, that's not. I hate
It's a
you.
thin gentleman dressed in black,
Why do you hate me?
wide-brimmed hat,
they
quite
ever
a
do?
pallid face. Clearly, there is a pallor, and his clothes have seen better days. There is a dull green glow coming from his eye sockets underneath the brim of his, I believe it is called a pilgrim's hat. And as you look over, he looks up from the fine china cup that he is holding, and there's a wry smile across his lips as he sips. Ah, I believe it's a Mr. Blackaxe, isn't it?
And I believe you're called.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am the scourge of reality. I am the harbinger of death. I am the
Yeah.
architect of this world's destruction. But I believe that you and your allies may have heard of me as the Gaunt Man. But please, do not stand on ceremony. And he reaches out with the hand that is not delicately holding the bone china. Take a seat, please.
Shove the sandwich in my mouth.
It's
Try
actually
to
the
eat it
Gaunt
as
Man.
fast as- Eat it as fast as possible and grab a seat.
Where are you
Does he know
sitting?
how it is?
Pick one.
I'm gonna put
You're going
the-
to sit next to him. Okay.
Oh,
As
it's
you
close
approach
range to
him,
my claws.
as you approach him, the closer you get, it is as if your very soul, your very spirit is being frozen. There is a palpable sense of terror emanating from this individual. Now, one of the first things that has the impact of is if we draw any drama cards from this point forward, I draw two and I pick the one that the Gaunt Man prefers. Okay?
Does that affect the others? Just me.
It will affect the sea.
Okay.
I had not expected to find one of your ilk here, but imagine my delight when it was you, Mr. Blackaxe. We haven't met, but I am aware of your exploit. Care to explain why you are in possession of a stolen vehicle that I was assured was a safe source of travel for one of my allies' minions?
I don't know. Everyone just jumped out of the ship, and he says, "Oh, look at that ship up there. We're no one in it. Let's go and take it."
Make a quick willpower test for me.
Well, it's actually the truth, so wait a minute.
I know. It's at -4, though.
God, my willpower's not that. Okay,
By the
click
way,
button,
a lot
nothing
of this,
happened,
a lot of this conversation is occurring. Well, that was very well done. The sense of fear threatens to overwhelm you briefly, but you grit your teeth behind your mask and push it down.
Go to him. I say to him these words. I say to him, my compatriots take a long time making decisions. Could you quicken up your speech a bit so I can actually hear what you're saying? Because you're so slow, so slow. It's like you're dead.
He looks at you briefly, takes a sort of a sniffing breath in, sips at his teacup. I am afraid swiftly is not a speed at which I operate, Mr. Black. Now, something strange happens as he's talking to you, as the point where he says the word operate. Some of the lightning flash from outside crosses across his fingers, and for a brief split second, he isn't holding a teacup. His face isn't clear. It's covered by a surgical mask with blood dripping from the bottom of it. And the teacup in his hands is a mixture of 4 or 5 gore-drenched scalpels. But then it passes. I am aware of your colleagues, Mr. Gardner, the good father, the detective who harbors something else in his soul, and the young Japanese lady. But Mr. Blackaxe, I have chosen to speak with you, and I thought you would relish the opportunity to have a polite conversation.
Oh, I am all in for polite conversations. Well, do you like? Are you good at answering questions?
Wonderful at answering questions, especially the ones people do not wish to ask. But by all means,
Why did you
go
have one
ahead.
of our friends in a sarcophagus in one of the bedrooms?
Me?
Well,
I had
you
no such
said this was your ship.
plan. Mr. Blackaxe, perhaps you should clean your helm. I said no such thing. I said, why are you here in possession of a ship of one of my allies?
Oh, allies. I thought you said elk. Okay, sorry. I got the words mixed up. It's your language. You talk a bit too slow for me. I just get them mixed up.
Yes, I can tell.
I swear he said something about that. That's a friend. I thought he meant his own people. Anyway, okay. What was your question then? Since I asked my question.
Right, hang on. We're just going to do passage of time with a choice of they hesitate or I have you now. Bear with me 1 second.
I think that second photo is for when he talks to Sam. I'm just pointing it out now.
I have you now.
Yeah, he'll go with I have you now. That's for
Brr.
upstairs as well. So, if you do make any rolls for the next bit,
Standard or dramatic here? Is it you said
it's dramatic. It's dramatic. It was dramatic before, but it feels even more dramatic now.
So we're stymied. What's that one again?
That means you are at -2 on anything
-2.
you're doing.
Yep, just trying to remember.
No, Mr. Blackaxe, I wish to know if you have any questions for me.
Oh, right. I thought I asked what you want. I thought we were doing exchanges. I asked you one, you asked me one. That's normal procedure, is it not? Okay. If you want me just to keep on asking you questions, what's your weakness? How can I kill you? How can I win this whole war? Do you really like the other people in charge? How do I get you out of this ship? And how do I get this ship to land safely? How to destroy this ghost that's running around the ship? Where's the item that's got this ghost in it? And that's give me a couple of minutes. I'll think some more questions.
My weakness is that I like to play with my food.
Play with your food, okay? So you
Do
want
I
some
like
chicken?
the other individuals involved in this war? Do predators ever like one another? How do you win this war? You cannot. How do you get me off this ship? I doubt it is within your power. But treating me with respect would go a long way to ensuring you do not leave this ship under anything but your own power. How do you kill the ghost that's dealing with you? I believe your friends are along that path even now. Did I miss any? You were talking at length.
You're talking to the wrong player here, by the way.
I know. Let's assume he answered each of your questions in order. Now,
Okay.
Mr. Blackaxe, will you give me the honor of asking you a question?
I did say earlier you could ask the question, so yes. I am diplomatic in that form.
I'll ask you this question then. What would you give me if I were to guarantee your mother's survival?
What would I give you?
She's ill, isn't she?
I'll give you exactly what my mother would tell me to give you, and then I basically I don't know how my claws work. Are they like Wolverine's claws?
If you want them to be.
I will do the finger motion then that this whole thing construes. I say this is a sort of hand motion they do in this world. I think you may understand it.
I am aware of it.
I was being diplomatic though, because I didn't actually do it.
Truly.
And thumbs up as well, just like
Yeah, not thumbs up.
me.
But truly, Mr. Blackaxe, I think it's terrible that the matriarch of such an auspicious clan as yours is struck down in her prime by what is basically the base predations of a lesser warlord than myself. What to me is the life of one dwarven matriarch? I feel like I could dabble in mercy. Fear has been my palate up until now, but perhaps one as old as myself would like to expand my taste range. No?
I don't think you're capable of a mercy, because it'd probably destroy you.
That is a harsh accusation, Mr.
The
Blackaxe.
truth hurts.
I am exhibiting mercy now by not destroying you in an instant.
I think you're taunting me somehow. I think this is all a trick.
He
This is a
reaches
game.
out as if to just lay his hand upon your outstretched finger pointing hand. Are you letting him do so?
I think I'll move my hand backwards because I'm not a trusting person.
Give a dodge check then as you move your hand backwards.
Any negatives here?
Sorry, no, unarmed combat. You are in unarmed combat. Your target number is 22.
22, you say?
Yep.
Right, okay. I will use a possibility in this.
You use a possibility. Mark it
Can I?
off.
No.
You can.
Okay, because the way you
Nothing
said it.
happens.
Oh my god, he stopped me using
He
possibility.
does. He doesn't stop you, but he just shivers slightly as you do that with what seems like a frisson of pleasure. And his hand, basically, you try to move back and you're just frozen briefly with fear. And his hand, he just lays his hand upon your gauntlet. What is your normal toughness, including armor?
15 with the armor.
Do you wish to spend for soak?
That's what happened right there a couple
his-
of seconds ago. There's no problem. There's no possibility it's
His
going to work.
touch sears into your flesh beneath your armor. Take 1 wound and 2 shock.
Ouch.
And then he simply pulls his hand away. You see how merciful I have been being up until this point in the conversation. Yet you continue to spurn what is a charitable offer. As he is talking, you can just, there's an undertone to his words that are just, no matter what you might think about them being a trap, foolish, and anything else, there's just, it seems they have a ring of persuasiveness about them. What is your persuasion, if you have the skill, or charisma, if you do not have the skill?
I have persuasion. Let me just add it up though, because obviously it's 2 plus. 2 plus charisma 7. It's the high 7s.
It's a high 7. So
Yeah.
it's just his words are ringing in your skull constantly. It's like a mind worm that's got in and you just can't get rid of it. Right. His persuasion skill is that.
Possible mishap.
3. You rolled 3, you still got
Oh, the 3 plus 24.
It's not a mishap.
I know,
However,
I'm just laughing at the roll.
You feel his influence just creeping its way through your brain, burrowing down into the center of your being, where whatever the idea is, it's festering. It's making you angry. It's bringing about some of the worst aspects of your personality. And we know that the dwarf's personality has a lot to choose from in those areas. I would like you to make a corruption test.
I would like you to tell me how to do a corruption test. And I'm wondering, is the dramatic the thing that says stymied, can that be played at any time after a fact?
You can use any cards you want at this point. You are at this point, you're not stymied. Because at this point the scene has changed slightly as he just sort of.
Okay, so I want you to read a card. Read the card I've got in my pool, and tell me if that can be used right now.
Card you have in your pool.
You don't happen to have the martyr card, do you?
You can do if you want to.
Why does another card come up there called "Not Like This"?
It changed. Okay.
It didn't show up in the chat window. That's why I was wondering where.
That's because I used his ability to just pick one.
Oh, okay. So this came up. So he's.
Yeah, you could do that if you wish to, but this goes off first.
It's the same thing. I'm going to use the setback.
Yep. So
delete that card.
Find the right bit in the cosm. It's a Rorsch. Guess it might have an impact what he's doing here. So the law of eternal corruption, which is an Rorsch world law, and Gaz could probably tell you about this as well.
Yeah, it's not good.
Basically, there are certain perks
Right.
that risk corruption because you're taking the infernal powers into you and that sort of thing. But in this case, it's just making a corruption check. So I would like you to make a corruption check. This is a willpower or spirit test. Get to choose one or the other. And it's just difficulty of 10. Okay? Just to let you know, if you fail, you will become corrupted and lose a point of charisma on a corruption test. But you can feel this worming its way down into you, and you've resisted its effects for now, but you get the feeling that it's still there. So, Mr. Durak, sorry. Sergeant Blackaxe, what are you and your friends doing here?
Hunting a ghost. It seems to be a ghost in the ship. I was just telling you a couple of minutes ago. I know you're getting old and your memory's going.
Gaseous horror is a recent addition, and much more in the way of cheek is what I believe your people call it. And I will begin to lose what little patience I have left.
This is not going well for me. You're just a real life crying.
The gaseous horror is of my creation.
Okay.
It is not intended to be here. It was a gift for an ally.
Not a good gift, though.
You awoken it early. However, luckily, there are precautions within its container that I believe your friends will be coming to quite soon. No, Sergeant Blackaxe. What are you and your friends doing on this vessel? And I do not need to know current events. Historical, and where do you intend to go? I'm sorry.
I'm thinking.
You can answer now. And he clicks his finger, and then you suddenly realize that your teeth were chattering uncontrollably and holding your tongue.
This is suicide. I attack him.
Okay, go ahead. Make a roll.
God.
Your difficulty is 22. Actually, forget it. Your difficulty isn't 22. He isn't moving.
Oh,
roll to hit.
Okay, because this whole thing is like, it's what I would do.
Oh well, you hit him so well.
You just said it doesn't have a target and possibilities.
No.
So that's it.
You can try. He
No. You say such
sucks up a
possibilities.
possibility. Well, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean he can do it all the time.
Probably does. I don't want to risk it.
Okay, what's your damage? You can have 2 bonus dice.
Oh, 16 AP 2. I mean 2 bonus dice. Ooh.
Yeah, roll
why
again.
did that?
That's 10.
Should have used the other thing, but I didn't think of doing it.
An 11. Do you have trademark weapon on your
Nope,
claws or
nope,
not? I don't
no,
think you
I
do, do you?
So that's 12
So that's
plus
what, 27?
28.
28?
No, 27. You're right. You're right. 27.
Well, you can
27
have
plus.
28. You can have 28.
Because it doesn't do anything.
No, it does. Your hand rips out. You do 28 damage AP 2, which gives him a toughness of 18. 2 wounds and 4 shock as your hand plunges deep into his gut, and then you pull out with red steaming blood trickling off of your hand. He puts down the teacup that he was still holding and sipping from and just sighs, and the wounds close. He looks at you. Would you like another shot?
Okay, I'll give him another shot.
Go for it.
Okay. Is that more?
You hit. Still 2 bonus die of damage.
Use this time. That's 9 plus 16 is 25.
So this time, again, you strike across his face. 4 bright red gashes open up, severing his nose. Your finger bursts out of his right cheek, and he just carefully reaches into a top pocket of his coat, pulls out a crisp white handkerchief, dabs politely at his mouth, replaces it, and again he is unwounded. You were definitely harming him, but he's unwounded. Give me a quick reality skill check.
Okay, I was thinking of a different thing to do next time. Right, here we go.
That's good enough. You start concentrating briefly, and your whatever senses you use to detect the changes in reality are almost overwhelmed briefly as the sheer energy radiating from his form becomes apparent to you. And you note that in each point, he wasn't doing what you do. He wasn't soaking the damage voluntarily, taking that. But it would seem that with a mere expenditure of the same energy that you yourself contain, he can heal. And he looks at you again. You can have a 3rd shot if you like, but that one will have a cost.
Is he using possibilities to do these heals, though?
You do indeed think that he is, but with that extra eye of reality open, you are detecting no reduction in his personal pool.
Oh, God. Right. Oh, I was just thinking if someone had a special card. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod.
Would you like shot number 3? But I'd say there will be a cost. I get to hit back.
No, it's fine. I think I've made my point clear. I'll see you
And
later.
he looks down and says, I think you have indeed.
Bye.
The
See you
point
later.
abundantly clear. He utters a few arcane words, and tendrils reach out from the sofa that you were on and drag you back. Sit down. I will let you go when you are dismissed, Master Dwarf.
Oh, you call me your master. I am very grateful, appreciative of that. Not many people call me master in this ship. I'm very. It's the disappointment.
Remember what I said about cheek, Sergeant Blackaxe.
I wasn't
And
being
with
cheeky.
that, he just reaches over and runs one finger down the side of your helmet, and the left-hand side of your face is just bursting with pain. Take a wound and 2 shock. And you're reducing that because you're wearing armor.
Oh, right. Good. Yay. I feel yay. Don't say that to him.
I have more important things to deal with.
Okay.
I'll leave you here for your friends to find. And he reaches over and just lays his hand on the chest plate of your armor. A searing pain burns through your body, but he does not remove his hand. And after about 5 or 6 seconds, blessed unconsciousness and darkness takes you back on top of the ship.
Does that mean I'm 0 wounds, 0 thing?
You are KO'd. You have taken 4 wounds, and you may have to make a defeat test.
And we're in this zone defeat.
Deal with that in a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that's soaking. Back on top of the vessel. Abram, what order are you all? What order are you all moving down the body of the Zeppelin?
I presume I'm at front. I'm hoping Theo's close by with the lights, and then Ryoko and Sam. Is Dr. Dick following us? Or is he staying with the cables?
Yeah, I'm probably following, but like a bit further behind.
And by the way, I know that Badger, you noticed an omission. It was not a mistake. After about 5-10 meters of hand-to-hand, the handholds on the floor stop, but you can see there's a roughly flat ridge running down the middle top of the dirigible. It's maybe 1.5 meters wide. There is a low, maybe 2.5 foot raised cable. Every meter or so, there's a strut going up, holding the cable in place, that is clearly there, meant to be an anchor point. You begin to move down the body of the ship. Can everybody please make me a dexterity or maneuver check? If you've got maneuver, you can use it, as the winds and the storm and the slick water and quite icy surface of the outside of the dirigible conspire against your steady footing.
For God's sake, I can't roll anything.
Okay, I'm okay where I am. I don't have to do any rules.
Yes.
Lying on the floor.
Oblivion has claimed you. By the way, just for everyone else's benefit, because I just realised I hadn't actually shared it.
Wow.
Wasn't that just Abraham?
That's what I aspire to be.
Yeah, Abraham aspires to be. Wow. How bad were your rolls?
The old man.
Skellen, you still need to roll. Father Theo.
Sorry.
Maneuver or dexterity, depending on which one's higher.
Not my forte.
Right. Well, at this point in time, obviously, the 4 adventurous types, the samurai, the cyber priest, the Pulp Sorcerer, and the Monster Hunter are all clearly doing this the way they expect to. You aren't holding on, and as a result, you are buffeted by the wind, stumbling backwards and forwards. The soon-to-be pensioner scientist, who really probably shouldn't be out on the outside of a dirigible in the middle of the night in an Atlantic storm 1,000 feet above the ocean, is clinging on to one of those guide rails as if his entire life actually did depend on it. Now, that means that Dr. Sanders, in the next encounter, you are not stymied, nigh on permanently. The rest of you, however, are under a standard stymie effect until I tell you otherwise, as you're stumbling backwards and forwards, but still making your way through the driving rain and the darkness further towards whatever your goal might be. And ahead of you, briefly illuminated by a crack of lightning off in the storm to your left, you see what your quarry probably is. Now, I say what your quarry probably is because it's pretty obvious this is what you're looking for. You've already passed a pair of these, which you assume would be XH's 4P and 4S, exterior, hold, port and starboard. The Cloudmaster has had built into the rigid outside structure of the dirigible some airship equivalents of those car roof storage bays that look like somebody's put a surfboard with a weight problem on top of their cars. They are relatively low, maybe 2.5 feet high, approximately circular, and they would appear to be secure locations for storing gear and equipment outside of the dirigible's cargo bay. Ahead of you in the darkness, you see to the port side another one lit up, and to the left you see the fourth one lit up, and it is almost guaranteed your quarry, because the metal is showing clear signs of having been ruptured, and sprouting out of the cupola or the storage location is a small, gnarled, black sapling. It looks significantly like a younger version of trees that you have seen elsewhere. Abram, give us a reality skill check, please.
About time. Oh, hey.
You can sense a malevolent intelligence emanating from this thing. Sam, possibly a surprise to you is that the tree that you're looking at, the sapling, is not the source of the magic. The magic is coming from something that's still within the cargo pod.
The tree itself is not magical.
The tree is not emanating magic. Can somebody roll me a d6? So even is your preferred. Is your preferred still Nile Empire over Core Earth, or generic?
Roche now as well.
Well, I haven't got any Aurora drama
Okay.
deck yet because the Kickstarter hasn't been done. So
Yeah, we'll stick with Nile
okay, because
Empire.
if you do have a Core Earth one, I'll just have to describe it in like more horrific fashions. So okay, true heroics. Well, you're on the top of
Absolutely. That's us.
any Storm Knight. That includes you down there, Durak. may gain a possibility by sacrificing a turn to help an innocent bystander or creature. Unfortunately, there aren't any of those in the area.
I helped that innocent bystander in my dream I'm currently having, it seems.
Oh, no, you're not having a dream. Like I said, blessed oblivion.
And I can't do it at all.
So you guys have a surge, and whatever you're up against goes second. So can everybody, not including Durak, please roll a d20 for a surge check. Remember, this is a disconnection check, so it's just a flat d20. If you have things on you that violate, and Theo rolls a 1.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Wonderful. Father Theo.
Dum-de-dum. I'm good at this, though.
Something
+2.
something dark grips your soul. Your faith is briefly doubted in the core of your being, and you feel yourself disconnect, which does something else. The light goes out. So, the scene is as described. Periodically, unless somebody else pulls a light out, Ryoko, your sword probably illuminates about a foot around your own hand. The scene is as described, periodically illuminated by arcing lightning. Who's going first?
Abram. No, Abram. Turn around and look at Theo, thinking, what the hell? Why has it gone dark suddenly?
Let's see, what do I have? What do I have on me?
Do I know how to pick up this tree, or handle it, or cover it, or?
Give me a scholar check.
Can I play an idea card so we get a glimpse of the...
You are now in combat rounds, so any cards you wish to play will have to be moved in the usual manner from your hand to your pool.
You've got a special card, you can move one. Sorry, a special feat.
Yeah, don't forget, if you've got situational awareness, you haven't used it yet this scene, you can move a card from your hand into your pool right now. That was perfect, Scallon. Thanks for rolling the 1. That was
You're
brilliant
welcome.
timing.
You're welcome. I aim to please. I have nothing in my hand either. But I've got a load of past abilities.
Or do you?
Abram, Scholar. Sorry, I saw that you'd rolled that. You have no idea. You can draw conclusions based on the ones you've encountered previously, but obviously they were larger. They were full grown. They had trunks that were wide enough to accommodate holes in them that you could run through. This is maybe 4.5 feet from the side of the vessel. Not a leaf is seen on it, and it's, if you imagine somebody did a gothic banzai, it's got that feel to it. It is very much, it's a young version of what looks like a black deadened tree. No one doing anything?
I'm not sure what there is to do. I suppose approach the thing very carefully.
You can do that. That can be part of your movement in the round. No problem at all.
Could that be a maneuver thing? I don't know.
I'm going to attempt to pick up the tree.
Obviously rooted in
It does appear. I can just about hear you, Kerry, say it does appear to be you. You can't see the majority of its roots, but there's the odd root that appears to have burst out of the container, the sort of the metal container that is the cargo pod. And yes, it does seem that those 1 or 2 of those that have poked out, the tendrils, they're not moving, but they're obviously up and out. 1 or 2 that have come out look to have then driven themselves, or at least starting to drive themselves into the surface of the outer skin of the Zeppelin.
So it looks like you couldn't open the box because it's all sort of welded shut by this tree.
There would give us if you're examining it, you can do it as an evidence analysis or a find check, and I'll give you a bit more data. But it has burst out of the box in some way. And that's the same. Anybody that's investigating this, you're going to be at a -4 because you're looking at it in nigh on pitch darkness. In fact, -6. Let's do it properly. Let's make Durak's dark vision have some benefit if and when it comes up.
Would we do a find check or
find or evidence analysis to give just what your initial findings of looking at the thing are? Dr. Dick's got a 12. That's a standard success. Theo's otherwise probably distracted.
14 and Sam 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
You all got standard successes.
I'll use possibility.
Okay then. I felt like saying somewhere there's a as the Gaunt man sucks your possibility away, but he doesn't.
My skill.
Your find skill is your mind from the look of it.
Mind, so it's 12.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't forget the -6 for.
So if I put 6 in the skill, then is that better?
Yeah, that'll do the same.
And I rolled a 22.
That is your roll so far.
That didn't work.
Oh, did you? You went from a.
I did. Yeah.
Standard to a good.
No, it didn't work. It was only a 6.
Well, it counts as a 10. That's why you got die total of 32. Clearly, the source of the tree has come from within the box. Some of you are able to spot that there appear to be bits of wood poking out of the hole that aren't part of the tree as well. Everyone spots that, possibly the container that it was in. Abram, you, however, with an eye for monster hunting, see a couple of additional things. Firstly, the edges of the hole the tree is coming out of show signs of having been warped by the tree pushing through, but they also show signs of what you would assume would be carbon scoring, or the effect of possibly a lightning strike. And you also are smelling rotten eggs again, but you look around and you do not see any sign of the spirit.
I assume that this may have been brought alive by a lightning strike or brought into conscience.
Possibly. That is not an invalid assumption at this point.
I've asked the doctor then, so if lightning can bring it alive, what would neutralize lightning?
I don't know. Rubber? Yeah, we got covered. No, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't get these weird.
Water does weird things with electricity. Would that do anything to it?
You haven't seen it outside yet, but
Well,
it is.
It's clearly already been exposed to water because it's raining, you know?
But there's a tree in it. Is a tree growing? So there's something inside the box as well.
Or something inside the box. We assume Sam has probably relayed to you the fact that the tree isn't the source of magic that he was tracking.
Does it feel like the tree might be growing from it, or is the tree a completely separate thing? Like it's guardians or something?
With that scholar roll, no idea.
My scholar roll, no jump.
Okay, well, as you're all a bit stymied at the moment, Ryoko, can you make a find check, please? Actually, no, you already made one. You got a 13. Yeah. You briefly pick up that same rotten egg smell, but Abram is detecting it from in front of you. You spin around as you sense this rotten egg smell, and you note that as between you and Sam, because that was the order you're in. I'm assuming you're still in the same order. The spirit rises up through the outer membranous skin. Well, sorry, no, it doesn't. It seems to slide around the edge of the Zeppelin and then rise up when it's between you both. And it takes a swing at you. What is your unarmed combat skill?
Unarmed.
Well, you've got a katana.
Yes,
You can defend with armed.
I have it out. 15.
Okay. You have enough time to see the thing coming, but it would seem that you go to block with your sword, and the creature's arm just passes through the sword. It does seem to be disrupted by it, but not enough to prevent its claws from raking down your armored chest. It only got a 16, so it's not doing any additional damage, so you are going to apply a damage 9 AP4 to yourself. So reduce your armor by 4 points, which I think means it possibly goes through your armor.
Armor is 4.
Yeah, so you've got a toughness of 13, 4 of that being armor. So you take 2 shock as the things... It doesn't do much damage, but where it is scraping across, it is obviously super cold, and that just grips your chest, and you can feel your skin under the blow tightening in the cold.
All
Any
right.
of you that haven't taken actions yet can take an action in kind if you wish to at this point.
I have actually done mine. I was going to move the tree.
We'll assume you're going forward to do that in a minute. We'll deal with that at the same time. So you're still doing that. Are Ryoko, Sam, or Theo doing anything? Or Dr. Dick, in fact?
I'm disconnected, aren't I?
You are, means you cannot spend possibilities. You cannot do anything that is alien to the local environment. So scary stuff and heroic action, both fine in an Orosh Nile Empire mixed zone. But you can't use any tools that are of a higher tech axiom for you at this moment in time. So 1930s is the top level.
Miracles?
Only if they have a spirit axiom of low enough, which would be... I neglected to put the world laws up. So Nile Empire has a spirit axiom of 18, and Orosh has a spirit axiom of 16. So as long as it's no higher than 18, it's perfectly fine.
Easy peasy. In which case, then I could bless people.
Yeah, you can indeed.
What skill would you like, people?
Dex.
Dex?
Not Dex.
Next would be good.
No one else can benefit from Dex.
Spirit. Do spirit.
Spirit?
Good for fear.
Yeah, spirit is good for fear. Charisma is good for certain other things as well, but...
I tell you what, because this group can never decide, we could have 2 rounds of voting. If you put down your first and second preferred...
I'm unconscious, so I can't hear this conversation.
Oh, the dwarf twitches in his unconscious-like state. His teeth grit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Spirit. Oh.
Spirit, you want spirit?
If we need to pull it up, or if we need to...
Oh, here we are. We've got votes coming in now.
Oh, that didn't work.
Oh, there's one for Dex straight out the gate.
So you can only vote for one.
Okay, guys. I put in my vote for Dex. I'm winning. We can stop the count.
Yes, stop the count now.
All of the votes, they're legal. They're just...
Let's just be kind to Dr. Dick as well. So we've had 4 votes. We have 1 more vote we're waiting on. Okay, so it's Dex.
Dex it is. Okay,
Hey.
Dex coming up. Are we sure there's no late votes coming in? Postal votes? Anything? No. Right. Okay.
Yeah, there are no late votes allowed
I
Right.
demand a recount,
guys,
and also
stop the
not
count.
a recount.
Stop the
unless
count.
it's Dex.
Wasn't Spirit first though? Do we not? Oh, okay. Right. Derek Dex it is.
Election fraud. Somebody's removed their vote.
Oh man, what's going on with me tonight? No,
Someone hasn't voted.
I'm going to have to spend.
Yeah, no, they did. They just removed their vote. Yes, you are going to have to spend a possibility. Otherwise, you will be taking shock from your god going bad priest and spanking you.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of a wobble with my faith at the moment. I think so.
You are
Okay.
indeed. You try to bring it down into yourself.
Skill total. Right, my last die total then is 7. Yeah.
Yep, and you are using your faith skill. Don't forget you're under the result of a stymie because of the wobbliness of the top of the place.
Oh, what's that? That can be a minus.
It's a -2.
Okay, I'll put that onto this roll then. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's a bit better.
That is indeed a bit better. So I believe that means you're all getting +2 to Dex for a minute, because that is an outstanding success with a 20.
No, we're not.
+2 to Dex. That's quite impressive, actually.
Yeah,
If you
because
do say so
+1,
yourself.
+1 for a minute, +2 for a minute, if I remember correctly.
Outstanding success.
And what I also
Yeah.
need you to do, Father Theo, is that does bring about a little bit more certainty in your mind. As your simple action, you can attempt to reconnect, which is a reality skill check in a mixed zone. So you get no minuses to this. So it's just you need to get a 10 or more.
10 or more. It's a reality. I'm good at
This is
reality.
a reality skill.
I'm good at this.
You just need to get a 10 to reconnect. It was also, you would have been under the effect of a stymie, but that's still a 13. So the fact that you call upon the power of the faith of your Lord, it just re-energizes you. And I mean, your armor doesn't immediately come back on because you need to activate that with a simple action as well. And you can only really do one simple action a round. But you feel the power of your faith refilling you. You are not forsaken. And well, you like your iBible. Your smart Bible does come back on.
It starts flickering and things as the blessing takes effect, sort of flash a bit, and then we'll see the light slowly powering up on my little God Bible. As I find my faith.
Or there's a little bit of text on the front of your Bible that says, "Please wait a few minutes while we reconfigure your faith."
Yes. Please
This
do not
may
turn
take
anything.
a while.
Yes. Configuring updates.
Yeah, I know certain people are grumpy because their armor stops them from having heightened dexterity.
Yep, not happy.
And then it doesn't go warning, Durak needs help.
Can
Everything's
I
fine.
benefit from the Dex?
Possibly, I can't recall. It depends what your max dex that your armor allows you to have is. I know that Sam definitely can because he's got bugger all in the way of armor, I think.
Yeah, my one's only 8 maximum. I'm not with them, so I wouldn't get the benefit.
Oh, you're downstairs, not moving, severely wounded. So you'll have something to complain about if you come round.
If I survive, you mean? Because that's
Yep.
a thing.
Damage 13. No, that's the Kyogo. I don't think we've written down your max armor, have we, Ion Gosoku? Toughness +4, fatigues, full body. For now, let's say you've got it. So what are you all doing? The gaseous spirits in front of you. Before we do that, let's do Abram's bit. Abram, you reach out and try to grab the tree. Well, frankly, you can grab the tree quite happily.
Very carefully grabbing it. I'm not being foolhardy. I'm trying.
You grab it. You
Carefully.
can feel. I don't know how you can describe this, but there is a tactile feeling of malevolence surging up whichever arm you are holding it with.
Now, can I? So I don't know if I'd throw it off.
Well, it seems to
or
be at least to your initial grip. It's firmly attached. But
Right.
that's because you haven't applied any pressure or attempted. But it's not like you've grabbed it and then it's immediately come away from the deck, like it was like badly velcroed down or anything like that. It feels tethered. You could do a strength check if you wish to pull it. If that is your
well, no, scythe out, and I might attempt to like not slice it, but try and sort of like jimmy the scythe underneath and see if I can lever it
go ahead
out.
with your machete or whatever other thing.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Make that'd be melee weapons.
Turn around and say, "Can you do this, Ryoko?" Oh no, not too bad.
Okay, you bring your, what is it, a machete or a sword or a bayonet? Or is it a little druid scythe, an actual sickle?
It's I thought it was a scythe. A saber, sorry, a saber.
Okay, so it's your army saber. So yeah, you bring it around and it comes down and there's a point when you crash your blade into the trunk of the thing and it's like you complete a circuit as your whole body is just overwhelmed with just visceral terror from somewhere. Give us a willpower check, please.
I'm not trying to cut it. I'm trying to jimmy it out. So I'm like getting the point.
And the blade hits. This is what kicks off.
Willpower test.
Yep.
Oh, I do have willpower. Oh, willpower too. Hello. When did I do that?
You spent 3 XP in it and possibly started with something, but still not good enough. Okay, you are very stymied and very vulnerable.
I want to be.
Roll a d20.
That's my plan. That's part of the master plan. This is where you roll high.
No, that's good. You didn't roll a 1. Your saber drops out of your fear-numbed fingers, but does not skitter off the side of the dirigible. It lies at your feet, and your other hand is still. I mean, at the moment, your fingers are sort of gripping on in fear, but your left hand is completely numb at this moment in time. Ryoko, Sam, Dr. Dick, what are you doing? There was not really a visual of what just happened to Abraham there. Just he went to strike. He went to pull the knife at the base of the tree, and then seemed to just drop his saber, and he's shaking his left hand.
Has the initiative changed? Is it the same?
No. It's still your first goes.
Right. Well, I'm gonna carefully approach the tree, and then, if possible, I'm gonna do a maneuver to sort of just move around it, try to like circle it, and just see if I can find a weak spot or something.
Okay, make a maneuver check. Your target number is the tree's maneuver.
Which
0.
Yeah, it's a tree.
Even so, you only got a good success. The tree is immune to being made stymied, but that's not your fault. It cannot, at this moment in time, through that means of attack, be made vulnerable, but that's also not your fault. But you still have successfully maneuvered around the tree. Have a monologue card. Ryoko, Sam, the gaseous horror is between you both. What are you doing? Apart from feeling a bit more Dexy than you were before.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I found out my max is 10. So
You're still feeling a bit Dexy, so your armor's feeling a little more restrictive than it was last time.
all right.
Oh,
So
I forgot to add the dex, so it should have been more. I could have gotten
You've managed to get over the other side. You can see it doesn't really appear to have any particular weaknesses, but over that side you can see what is left of the broken and bent clasp that would enable you to take the lid off of the container.
Okay.
Ryoko, you are striking at the spirit, yeah?
Yes. Jesus.
Maybe it's the wind, or maybe it's something else going on, but you strike out and it just seems to just pull its body or disperse and then recoalesce when your deadly blade to it has passed through its form. Kerry, what's Sam doing? You've just seen Ryoko take a strike at the thing and it's just,
Such
it wasn't there.
That's such a nice way to describe a sucky roll.
Did it disappear from my grip then?
What, the tree?
Yeah.
No, you've still got your right hand has like got a bone-crushing death grip on it, and you can't actually release your hand.
Wait, I thought it disappeared.
No, the sword fell out your hand, and the tree's still in your hand.
No. When Ryoko hit it, or tried to.
No, that's not the tree. He was striking the gaseous horror.
Oh, okay. Okay, got you. Sorry, I forgot he was there.
I seem to remember I cast Mage Hand last time.
I believe you may have done, or you concentrate on magic missile, detect magic. I believe.
Yes, and
you did cast Mage Hand as well because
yeah,
you were going to do something with it, I think.
So have I been maintaining that?
I would assume you have been.
Yeah.
So that's an additional -4 to anything else you're doing.
Can I punch it then with Mage Hand?
You can try to.
Or how do I do that?
I believe you can use, for now, we'll check it later, you're going to use your appropriate magic skill as a melee weapon attack. But obviously you are concentrating, so you're going to be at a -2. Because I'm not going to say that the -2 from concentrating on Mage Hand will have an effect on it, but the -2 from concentrating on Detect Magic and Mage Hand is going to have an impact on it. So I think that's apportation magic Mage Hand, I believe. So the spectral blue fist strikes out, and we'll say it's probably like big with his hand. It's going to be a bit bigger than usual, and you begin to just like bash down on the thing using the oversized aspect of the spectral hand as a sort of a magical fly swat. That is a good success. 2 more would have made it an outstanding success. So you can go ahead and roll. You're going to let's say you're going to do 10 damage with a splatty hand, and you've got an additional bonus die to add to that. So roll one of the d6s, and if you roll a 6, it counts as a 5, but then you can roll again and add. So that's a 14. It has toughness 7, so you get 5 points over. You aren't doing any armor piercing. It's getting additional damage because it's not an AoE attack, but it sort of is an AoE attack. But that still isn't enough to prevent you from doing a wound. So the hand strikes down once, twice, third time, you aim it correctly, and you disperse the thing's gaseous form into the blasting winds of the storm. As you're looking at it at the time, you see the core of its magical essence zip straight back into the container, and it goes straight to the source of magic that is within the container, unimpeded or affected by the tree in any way, shape, or form.
I'll say it's in my container. I must open it.
Can somebody roll me a d6 for the next combat round? Nile or Core Earth with a tinge of horror.
Are you a Ghostbuster?
So Theo got 5. That will be a drama deck 1. Oh, that's appropriate. You wear it. It's even got a werewolf on it.
He does look a bit toothy, doesn't he?
So, Gaz, as Abram tries to release his grip, there is an image takes up your sight briefly. You are no longer looking around at the at the rain-drenched surface of a night-enshrouded zeppelin. Your face is, your vision is filled with a cloud of dark grey smoke, and then out of the smoke, cackling towards you, is the giant face of the Gaunt Man. And as it moves towards you, cackling, the jaws open and engulf you, and you shake your head, and you find yourself back where you are, -1 possibility.
Man,
Don't worry, join my boat. Be sarcastic to it.
Don't forget your Cosm cards, people.
oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, don't like mine.
Don't like mine.
Oh, I don't mean marked for death.
Who hasn't spent their Cosm cards at the moment?
I haven't.
Me.
I have not.
I have not.
Okay.
Mine's not appropriate, I don't think.
Oh, 2 people have got the same one. That can't work. Dr. Dick and Sam. Let me just make sure you have both got the same one. Don't know how that happened. Can
Well-
you each roll a d20, please? Okay, Dr. Dick. You get a different card. Please discard the one you have.
I grabbed the wrong one last session.
And you get that one instead.
Jump scare. Ooh, that's nice. It's appropriate at this minute in time.
So, the spirit is once more banished, seemingly to its whatever, to regenerate. Abram has a firm grip on the tree that is growing out of the cargo pod. But any of you looking at his face, he does look white as a sheet. So, what are you all doing?
Well, you mentioned the box.
Mhm.
That it was closed. I don't know. Is it a good idea to open it?
You reckon that you could open it? It's probably it's not gonna be difficult to unlock. You might need to use a bit of strength in order to actually move the lid, because it's significantly bent. There's a bit of a rip going down it, but you reckon with a little bit of elbow grease you could unclasp it, and then possibly like bend it back?
Would that require a strength check? Because
It would.
I don't think I'll try that then.
I might try that because I think Mage Hand's strength based on spirit.
That's cool if it is. I'm
That's
perfectly
cool.
fine with that right now.
Plus, I don't have to touch the box.
There's that. Mage Hand probably wouldn't be able to undo the clasps, though, because I'm getting the impression Mage Hand is probably like a big clumsy fist rather than like nice little delicate finger.
Right. I'll undo the clasps and.
He stood there with a clasp, but let's go with that. Is it delicate devices it can do?
It says you can manipulate items as if they had invisible hands.
Oh, okay, fine. So you could have done it as well then. But Dr. Dick stood there. He just unclasps it and then points out that he's a weak and feeble old man and can't actually open it. What's its strength, Kerry?
Equal to her spirit.
So what's your spirit?
It's 12.
Okay, that's good. I'm not going to make you roll for that one. So, Dr. Dick, you quickly unclasp it. That's a simple action for you. You can still do something else. And Sam, you concentrate. I mean, the concentration means it's probably not going to be a simple action, so I doubt you will be able to do anything else. But you concentrate, and the hand goes over. And Dr. Dick, as you stood there, you can see sort of like, I mean, there's no fingerprints, but finger indents on the metal, and there's a sound of shearing steel as something invisible pulls half of the lid of the cargo pod away and just rips, and the half of the lid goes somersaulting over the side. Two things are immediately apparent to you, Dr. Sanders.
Yep.
The first is an overwhelmingly strong smell of rotten eggs, which briefly dissipates and then comes back strongly as you note that there is a clean, maybe 4 or 5 inch long tear at the bottom of the cargo pod from whence the smell is coming. And still having most of its material securely, trying to think of the word, it's tied down. There is the remnants of an onyx black wooden box. I say remnants because out of one corner of the box, there's a significant amount of tree. And that's where some of the bits of wood that some of you saw has come from. Despite the tree being there, the box doesn't appear to have been dislodged from its current position, and with it being tied down, you can see that the lid of the box could be opened, but it's still tied down, and there's a silver clasp on one side, the facing side to you from the box at the moment. It's about sort of 18 inches square and maybe 5 or 6 inches deep, this box. So the tree's coming up of the back left corner as you're looking at it, Dr. Dick. And the bits of the box that the tree has dislodged were obviously the bits that were in the way of it. And it doesn't seem that there's space to get around the tree into the thing. All of this, by the way, was done very delicately as to not slash Abram's arm up as the metal was pulled away with a sharp tug.
So the box contained another box of which the tree's
The
growing out
cargo
of.
box contains a box. The tree's coming out of the box is locked, but you can't tell what's in it.
Is there any way to, like, you say it's locked, so there is a lock on it?
You can give me a quick evidence analysis check on that. By the way, you've entered a dramatic skill resolution without realizing it. Step A, opening the cargo pod.
Is that?
You do not see a visible lock. It was a very good evidence analysis roll. It looks like the sort of lock you get on cheap diaries. Just it's intended to be a clip-in clasp.
So there is a lock, but there isn't a lock, but there is a lock?
It's a silver clasp, but there's no keyhole or locking mechanism.
Ah.
Anyone?
So it doesn't look like we could open the clasp.
You've not tried.
Oh, I'll have a try.
Unfortunately, you've already done something this round.
Oh yes.
I'm not sure what to do with this thing.
wait till next round so the mage hands can touch it.
Classic D&D scenario. You're not a rogue. It's a lock. I'm completely stuck. But it's not a lock.
Am I still stuck to the
You
tree?
are holding the tree as if your life depended on it at this point.
And I can't let go.
If you want to try, you can make a willpower check.
I mean, I could try to shoot the tree.
Uh,
I'm not sure if that's going to do anything.
No.
Always shoot the tree. That's the best policy.
with helium below us, or hydrogen below us. I will keep hold of it until at least they've done something with the box, just in case me actually touching it is preventing it from doing anything. Just in case. I'm not saying it.
Can you generate a willpower check for me anyway?
No, I can't.
Your difficulties are 14s.
Come on. Oh, for God's sake.
Okay. Abram.
I'll play an action card.
Okay. That gives you a 12.
Or is it? Oh, right. No, that's not what I thought it was. Then. I thought that was my. Like it plays as a possibility.
That's a drama card or a hero card.
I won't play an action card then.
Okay. Abram, take a wound. Anyone looking at Abram can see that his face is becoming, I mean, he was looking pale anyway, but his face is becoming drawn and sallow. Now, doesn't look like anyone's going to try it this round. We've already done an A this round. The B step of the dramatic skill resolution is opening the class, which might suggest to you that it's not going to be as simple as just opening the class. So can somebody roll me a D6 for the drama card for the combat round? That means you're getting a 9 amp one, because evens are good for you guys. Chips are down. Spending a possibility this round doesn't provide a minimum result of 10. The player may re-roll, but must take the second result. You're in a dramatic combat round. The next skill resolution is a B, so you can attempt the next step. And you guys go first. Trick is an approved action.
Sure, you can trick a tree or a box.
On a very broad definition, I allowed the maneuvering of a stationary object because, well, in theory, it's stationary, but the environment wasn't. If something's immune to trick, strangely, trees are immune to trick, you won't be able to attempt the action on it. So you have an opened pod with a broken but unopened box inside it. Removing the ropes or whatever they are that are holding the box down is simple. Because it's wedged in place by the tree, however, the box doesn't then move. So, as I said, the B action is to undo the clasp.
Over to you, Sam.
Actually, well, it looks like Abram's paralyzed, right?
No, he's moving. He's just not letting go of the tree.
Oh, okay. He looks voluntary. All right. I'll let you
Okay. What's the equivalent of? Let's have a think. Determining if it's voluntary or not. Well, it's going to be charisma for sort of spotting things in others' activity. Give us a charisma or a persuasion check, because there isn't really a sort of an intuition type thing here.
Evidence analysis.
Okay. However, trying to care for your fellow human isn't a disconnection at social axioms 20, which is for the Nile Empire. However, at social axiom 1, it would be, because no social action at all is possible at social axiom 1. So, yeah, he looks fine, Sam. He's obviously decided that the tree needs not to move.
Yeah. All right. I'll try to open the class.
You move around, concentrate, bring the hand down, and there's a brief moment of resistance as you attempt to pull back the clasp. Through your connection with the spell, your mind is assailed with, long story short, you know the scene in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory when they're on the boat and it all goes from being a nice happy child's film, albeit one with moral ambiguity, into nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
That sort of begins to assail your senses. In the what feels to you like minutes of these images going through, they're trying to just break down your sense of self, to make you think that everything you've been doing is wrong and you should cower in fear. There are things in the world which are so much scarier and more dangerous than you are, and you should just go hide under the stairs, close the curtains, turn off the lights, and shiver in darkness. You need to give me a reality skill check, difficulty 10, to overcome the Aurortian defenses that have been placed on this otherwise normal clasp. Just so as your self-image is being beaten down to the sort of the emotional level of a petrified toddler, there's just a spark of something older, something wiser, something that has seen and dealt with the scary things in the world and has come back, rises up from within you. There's a very brief moment when a crack of lightning illuminates the scene, and anybody looking directly at Sam, when the lightning flash goes off, there's a fully regaliaed Egyptian pharaoh stood where Sam would have been standing, and then it's Sam again, and the clasp ticks open and the lid flicks back, gets stuck about halfway up because of the tree involved in it. You don't have a C to do dramatic skill resolution, so unless you want to go for last ditch effort, you won't be able to do that this round. And if you don't, it's just the fact that a squall of the wind picks up a bit more and the lid is flapping backwards and forwards until it settles towards the end. Ryoko, Theo, are you doing anything to help out, possibly assist Abram, who does look to everybody but Sam to possibly be in some distress?
I shall help Abram. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, he stood there holding a tree.
Do any of you have the special dramatic cards?
Yeah.
Is he restrained by this tree?
Give us an evidence analysis check as you go over, or possibly you could use first aid if you want to, see if there's any physical injuries, knowledge of human anatomy and that sort of thing.
First aid seems fine. Tree hugging, yeah, good grief.
You lot are shite at helping.
You cannot work out why unless you're spending a possibility.
Yeah, I'll spend a possibility. I got some last time, so I may as well blow them and do something useful with them.
Yep. Damn tree hugger. So you put your first aid skill in the first box, die to elevate in the second one. Ah, right, I see what you mean. Yeah, there's a card that lets two people do an event, but it's not up. You'd also need, if you've got skill resolution C as the card, you can try that even though you haven't got one on the card. You're confused.
Wasn't there something on the temporary reprieve card that could let you do? I don't have that anymore, but I think it was something on
By
it.
any time to avert a catastrophe, including failing a dramatic skill resolution. Any combat ends and the villains withdraw, allowing the heroes to recover shock before the situation resumes or an alternative problem arises. Theo, it's weird that you can't see any particular reason for why Abram is going. I mean, his cheeks are hollowing.
Cheeks.
Gaps under his eyes are forming. His skin's becoming stretched and pallid across his face. Do you wear gloves, Abram?
Probably
got some.
no, I probably don't actually, because
Okay.
my fingers are dexterous.
The same, you can see the same sort of effect on his hand. You know, Abram's quite a virile younger gentleman, but his hands, the knuckles are looking like they're swollen. Again, the skin across his wrist is pulling back, and you can start to see clearly the muscles, or the bones underneath the skin. But despite this, he seems to just be gripping the tree with what you would describe as a sort of a rictus.
My cousin card help.
What's your cosm card? Yeah, 100%.
Okay, in that case, I should play it.
You play your cosm card, and you just briefly take out your St. Christopher, or whatever the equivalent symbol of your faith is, and you just briefly touch it to the back of Abram's hand. And Abram, whatever it was that was holding you, the draining feeling, the fear within, the simple touch of this silver medallion, which you don't recognise because the Sicellum doesn't have the same saints, it wouldn't have a St. Christopher. You just release, and you're free again.
Excellent.
Use the cosm card.
What's the cosm
I'm
card?
going to grab the tree again.
Escape.
No.
It's just called escape, which is immediately remove a restrained or whatever it was condition.
Thanks, Theo.
Thanks, Theo.
Okay, somebody roll a d6. As we'll assume that a Ryoko assists in stopping Abram from stumbling off his feet.
Yes.
And actually, Ryoko, you can roll. Somebody else? Yeah, I was about to say you can roll the d6. So we're still in the Nile Empire realms. Into the air. We're already in the air. Any test of air vehicle is favoured this round, but any vehicle must succeed a challenging DN12 test or suffer 20 plus 1
God.
bonus die
You know who has to roll
collision damage.
You know who has to roll that.
So that is going to be, you can choose. So however it's described, the storm gets very bad. There are some things. So I think, Ryoko, we described that you would put the dirigible in station keeping. So you are the one who's going to have to make the difficulty 12 roll. Oh, by the way, C is an approved action this round, so you can progress the dramatic seal resolution. But before that, let's see if Ryoko's earlier attempts at flying put you in a better place to avoid the multiple lightning strikes that appear to be nestling in the upper atmosphere of the storm and about to streak down at your position, possibly igniting one of the hydrogen bladders. So,
Okay, so
air vehicles, Alexander. It is favoured. So if you roll crap to begin with, you can choose to roll again.
I choose to roll again.
You get lower than a 5, God help you. Luckily, you did, just butterfly effect, just without realising you were doing it, you parked it 10 feet to the right than where you would have otherwise parked it. And the aforementioned coruscating electricity arcs down and narrowly misses the bladders of the dirigible, and instead harmlessly dissipates in the seawater thousands of feet below.
Yes.
So there are at least 3, possibly 4 people now, because Ryoko is probably the only person not looking at a situation where they can see into the box. There are only, well, how do you describe it? There's one item in the box, but there's also other stuff in there with it, but it's not an item because it looks like dirt. The dirt's not enough in there to cover the entire floor of the box, but what is in there is scattered in a small pile, upon which a black, puckered, seed-like object. I say seed-like because it's about the size of your fist, and it has a vaguely heart-shaped shape to it. Now, I can't remember, but have any of your current characters witnessed Gospog being made?
I don't think we've seen them being made now. I mean, we've seen them, but
You have seen them. Okay, that's cool. So you do not draw. Well, that's in that case. Anybody who's looking, who would have been likely to have read Delphi Council reports on stuff the enemies have, can give me a scholar check.
I believe that would be Dr. Dick.
Dick probably would have. Abram probably would have. Frankly, it's up to you. It's if your character would have read some otherwise dry reports. Abram did, but not the right ones. Dr. Dick, you do recall reading about the method of how Gospog are made. Now, you hadn't seen anything, some rough sketches, but from what you've read, the enemy have seeds that they plant by essentially embedding them in the chest of a freshly killed corpse, burying the corpse, and then sometime later, the seed merges with the body and a fresh undead Gospog emerges from the grave site. This looks like one of those, but the seeds you've seen drawn are just roughly seed shaped. They don't have this unusual shape structure to them.
Looks like it's a Gospog seed. Heart-shaped though, for some reason. I don't know what it has to do with the ghost, maybe.
As you're looking at it quite closely, all of you are looking at it, see this as well. You can see sort of imperceptible air movements around it as it seems to be drawing something into itself. And there's also a light rime of frost around within the dirt around the edge of the object. So step C is deciding amongst yourselves and executing how would you like to try to destroy the seed.
We could just throw it into the sea, right?
You could.
That might make a sea monster Gospog.
It might.
Like just a massive Gospog made of seaweed.
Fire?
Fire is a possibility. However, I will draw your attention back to the 3-inch long rent that is within the cargo box that you can still smell hydrogen leaking out of.
Yeah, that's a really clever idea, Abram. You know, you should get. Wait, sir. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna call the Nobel Committee. That's fucking brilliant.
Take it down and put it on fire now. We don't have to do it here.
Yeah, I agree. I think remove it from the source of its.
I don't know. You want to pick it up again? Doesn't.
Mage,
in my spectral hand.
see that floating hand there that's about to punch in the face?
Okay. Well, you can do that. So you're going to pick it up?
Yes.
Okay. Dramatic skill resolution doesn't necessarily have to be in rounds anyway. But if you don't complete it within the next 2 or 3 card turns, then something else might happen. So, you're going to try and pick it up?
Yeah.
Just give us a D20 check.
We could put it in Durak's body and see what is born.
Kerry, can Sam make another reality skill check, please? As the mage hand clasps around the heart-shaped seed, a more, well, similar in content, but a more violent, overwhelming series of images essentially assails your mind. I was going to say the DN before you rolled, and it was a 14, so you've almost made it.
So I have to spend a possibility, right?
You would have to either use a card if you've got one in your pool that will give you a bonus to the skill check, or spend a possibility to roll again and add.
I have to spend a possibility.
Fine. Don't need to roll again because you only need one more point, and adding a 10 to a 12 will give you a 22, which takes you from a bonus number of nothing to a bonus number of probably somewhere akin to a 7 or an 8. However, just to let you know, you've postponed the completion of Step C. Step D, however, is trying to deal with the tree.
I was dealing with it. I had it all under control.
So much faith in your dice rolls.
Yeah, okay, I'm not going to roll any dice for it.
So, Kerry, you've got, or Sam has got the seed in a spectral hand. The issue you've got is all this time these images aren't stopping, but you're managing to suppress any adverse effects from them.
Does it seem like something that we need to fix immediately?
Sam appears to be coping with that. Do you mean dealing with the tree immediately?
Yeah.
You can delay it if you want to. There
I
might
don't
be.
know, really. I'm just thinking maybe you could make some sort of weird science thing to.
Around here for 10 minutes.
I might let him do this one quicker. So somebody roll a d6 for the next round.
About it for this whole time so far.
You can't do anything unless you get a D on the drama card.
We only need to take this. Have we got any fire? Because we only need to take this out of the way of the vent, don't we, really?
Well, the seed, definitely.
Yeah.
So somebody roll me a d6. Except Dr. Dick, you're the one coming up with the suggestion, so you can roll the dice. Still Nile Empire. Does hold that pose have a D on it? It does. A hidden reporter photographs the first Storm Knights to gain an outstanding success this round. The hero gains a possibility to be recognized by allies and enemies once the story comes out. Well, if that can happen, we'll do that. So, what sort of thing are you expecting to do with weird science?
Well, make some sort of, I don't know, a cage or just some sort of holding thing that will make it safe to like hold the either of those, one or both of those things, really.
Okay, give me a scholar check as you're looking at this, or possibly science. It's up to you.
Science
Actually,
is-
science for you because of your particular idiom with science. That's still good enough. It was only a 10. You're looking at this. You've been looking at it for about a minute or so now. And first thing, you're certain it's not a natural tree. For instance, it's rooting into metal. However, seeing the reactions of your colleagues, looking at that in comparison with all of the other times you've encountered these things, the fact that you know that local reality has changed slightly, core Earth being suppressed, you're beginning to put together a hypothesis that this plant is a vehicle for the alien reality. And you know from your experience previously that when when reality shenanigans are involved, that normal situations don't tend to work. And you're working on that premise, you are going to try to come up with a weird science device that could, at least temporarily and probably not in a repeatable fashion, act as the reality power equivalent of a Faraday cage.
Yeah, something like that.
So what you're going to do, you're going to make your weird science check that will give you a piece of equipment. Then you or somebody else with a few seconds of instruction can use that piece of equipment with their reality skill to see if they can hit the difficulty number 18 reality skill check that is needed to isolate this thing from its power source.
Damn.
Now, your weird science is only a 10 difficulty on this. If you get a good or an outstanding success, then you're going to be giving either a +1 to reality on a standard, a +2 to reality on a good, a +4 to reality on an outstanding.
And that was a good one, so it's +2.
That's good
right?
so far. So you'd need that would be a +2. If you get a 20, that's 3 more points. That will give whoever is using your device a +3.
Oh, I've got a willpower card.
Okay, so you hit a 20.
Or I could just use the willpower card on the thing that they're doing.
Is that an outstanding success?
That would be an outstanding success. I was getting to that.
Good.
Yep. No, you use the willpower card on this.
Yeah.
And you quickly put these things together. Strangely, with no explanation whatsoever, some of you are briefly disturbed as the noise in the storm changes. An old-style Cessna plane flies past on the starboard side. There is a brief flash which you originally thought was lightning, until a couple of you with better vision than others look and see somebody holding up a smartphone, and the flash from the smartphone goes off a second and a third time. And then the plane disappears into the storm. See, we can have a hidden reporter easily enough, even in the mid-Atlantic.
I hope it doesn't get turned into a TikTok. That would be bad.
Nobody. Well, no, Ryoko gets the reference to TikTok. None of the rest of you would. Maybe you want to make a clock out of it. So you've now got in your hand a weird and esoteric device, which you are certain will, with some pseudo jargon scientific explanation, isolate this thing from whatever is powering its unnatural vigor. Who are you giving it to use?
Well, who has the best reality skill?
I hope it's not me.
I don't think it is you.
I
Look at
hope
that.
it's Ryoko.
I
Ryoko.
believe,
Mine's
I
13.
only have the
No,
best
12.
rolls.
I believe it is either Sam, due to his high spirit but low reality skill, with a 13, or, in all likelihood, now I'm thinking about it, it's going to be Theo with his 5 reality skill and his spirit of 10, 15.
All right, Padre, I think you better keep this thing.
Okay, I shall. Careful.
You give him brief instructions on how to use it.
Can he read?
Press this button.
Yeah,
Pretty much that. It's like
Not
point
press this
it
button.
that way and push this button, and then think really hard about who you are.
Yeah, but don't hold it for more than 10 seconds. That will make you confused.
Yeah, and please don't think of the Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, there's a bit about not crossing the streams and stuff like that.
Marshmallow Man, okay.
What he's basically given you looks like a Zippo lighter with some kind of a Kinder Egg toy, like crazy glued to the front of it, and that's it. You tell him to actually use it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll try not to think of the marshmallow man as I press the button.
Okay, so you need to make a reality skill check, but you are getting a +4 bonus from whatever this wondrous device of weird science that Dr. Dick has just cobbled together is.
I'll obviously say a quick prayer to protect myself from whatever Dr. Dick's done here, and let's see what happens.
There is a brief moment of panic as you outstretch your hand and go to press the click on the top, but Dr. Dick says, no, other way around.
Okay, I turn it the other way around.
I think. Very good. You fill yourself with a sense of inner peace and calm, and it's a very similar feeling to that which you had in the midst of the reality storm when the goddess Lanala co-opted you in a battle versus one of her native minions. And down your arm into the small device, which begins to crackle with red and blue energy, you pour all of your will, your belief, even those bits of your belief, because you are a transformed core earther, that are still a little bit confusing to you within the cyber papacy, the level of heightened technology, even some of the worst aspects of the church. And the energy begins to build into a quite complex looking lattice ball of energy in your hand. And then with a now from Dr. Dick, you, as instructed, push your hand forward so that the lattice crosses over into some element of the tree. And quick as you like, the energy begins to coruscate around the tree, but the tree begins to, if you imagine it was hollow and you were sort of sucking all the air out of it, so like a vacuum packing, sort of vacuum collapse as the pressure outside becomes too much for the pressure inside and overwhelms. And after a while, it just begins to, the ball of energy is coruscating all around it, and as it begins to shrink and shrink, the content of what's left of the tree is occupied within the ball, and then the ball begins to shrink further and further until there's a little just single mote of black in the middle of the energy. Then the energy stops and the mote drops with a thunk thunk wooden noise onto the surface of the cargo pod. Two things then happen. First one is it doesn't fall out of the cargo pod, it sits there. The other thing that happens is the overwhelming presence of fear that you were all feeling is replaced with a refreshing feeling of hope as Core Earth's reality flows back in to the area.
Feel a little
Kerry,
sadder.
you, however, are still being assailed by those images of fear that are emanating from the seed. We'll come out of rounds now because we're going to do this narratively. What are you all doing?
Make for the hatch. And then,
Okay, so you begin to work your way back down the spine in the opposite direction, carefully moving through. Find yourself back in the main body. Dr. Dick, make a scholar check. You make light work of the repairs on your way back. And a few minutes later,
Light work. I get it.
that was completely unintentional. A few minutes later, you are making your way back down into the gondola. As Sam,
Lights are back
Theo.
on.
Ryoko, Dr. Sanders, and Abram. One after another. I'm assuming you'll have travelling back down into the ship. The Weird Science Lab is probably the Weird Science Workshop. Probably is probably your best bet of where to put the seed, because you've got, you know, that Dr. Sanders has got a lot of tools in that area. And assuming that that is where you are taking it, who's going to be the first one to go into the lounge?
Probably Sam with the, well, he'll probably leading the way with the.
Well, the lounge is beyond the workshop. That's the thing.
Okay. Well, I won't be needed in the workshop. Oh no, I will stay in the workshop, just making sure because it's a Roshan. So Ryoko or Theo.
Decide amongst yourselves.
Assuming that
I'll-
Dr. Dick will
once the thing's been put in the workshop, I'll go and get a drink in the bar.
Make an evidence analysis roll as you walk in. When you first come in the room, you see Durak lying sprawled out in one of the chairs. Your immediate thought is he's asleep or drunk or something else. However, you've spent enough time with the dwarf, even though the armor he wears is hard to see through, but there are telltale signs of the activity going on beneath the armor. And at this moment in time, those telltale signs are not present. Durak,
Yes.
you will need to make a defeat test.
This will be the
Now,
first time, isn't it?
It's a standard strength or spirit test. However, whichever is lowest.
Spirit.
On a failure, you die.
Spirit.
On a standard, you are knocked out and potentially suffer a permanent injury. On a good success, you're knocked out and you suffer an injury that lasts until all of your wounds are healed. On an outstanding success, you are simply knocked out.
Is this possibility? Can you use possibilities on this? If you're talking, I can't hear you.
You can spend a possibility on this roll.
Can I use a bless to help him?
Okay, I have to do a spirit roll now, and let's see what happens. I'm not even sure what the target is, so here we go.
Standard roll, so it's a 10.
The first one's 9, because that's what my dice roll was.
Your dice roll was a 6, giving you a -4. So you're currently on a 5.
What's my outstanding target? 20?
Outstanding is a 20.
No, I can't use that one. I can use drama.
You can do. You're out of combat as well, so you could, in theory, swap cards with people, but a drama card's fine.
16, is that for
You
my...
are, well, currently your die total is a 22 and you've got the same skill.
Yeah, no, I was trying to work out what the dice roll was.
That's a
22,
22,
okay.
yes, it's from the text.
All right, the text, right. One short.
Run away from an outstanding.
Anyone got a supporter card?
Sadly not.
I do.
Yeah. Can I use my supporter card with me, please?
Yes.
Have you got one?
Oh.
Yes. And I
Oh,
won't
wait.
use it on you.
I'm going to watch it with your face.
For some reason I can't drag it in, but I
Doesn't
assume
matter.
I
You're using it. So support card, you're using it. It's not a problem. Just delete it from your hand.
You have to say you're using it. It's the... Can't drag him anywhere.
So, question. Are you wearing your full armor?
Please wearing my full armor.
Including your helm, yeah?
I have to be, yeah. Well, I don't know if I was wearing my helmet when I was eating, because I didn't expect him to be there.
Okay, so you've got a choice here. Are you wearing a helm or not?
No. Because I was eating. I only said that because I was eating. If I wasn't eating, I would have said yes.
Okay. So the first thing that's a giveaway, Dr. Dick, that there's something wrong, is the vicious, lurid-looking red mark all the way down the left-hand side of Durak's face. But your basic Venture Scout or Scout First Aid, he is still breathing. Shallowly, ragged, but breathing.
Looks like someone got a little handsy. And it wasn't Durak, because that's not how it works.
He is unconscious.
Are we all up next to him now?
No, I think we're in the evidence room.
Uh,
Oh, you can decide where you are. I mean, if you're still dealing with the seed, you're in there. If you're not dealing with the seed, you can be in here.
if I knew that Durak was not well, I'd want to see if I can help him.
I mean, Dr. Dick probably does something appropriately socially inappropriate with the comment he just said about Durak, and he says it quite loudly.
Oh, okay. I'll go and investigate then. And,
Do you want to make a first aid check to analyse first?
definitely, I'll go. Durak, my friend.
Can I
What's
do
happened?
something with medicine? Like maybe
Yeah, definitely. Because Theo, your knowledge of first aid cannot explain the wound on Durak's face.
That's so weird.
It also can't explain Durak's face, but
I know what. I can play a card while I'm waiting for all these people to do stuff.
I'll immediately fall to prayer.
And the possibility of that.
Lord.
okay, so while you're praying and you're gathering your energy and you're doing what it is that people that perform miracles do.
Healing miracle, yeah, whenever.
What do they do?
Okay, Dr. Dick, while in the seconds before Theo attempts to miraculously heal the wounds, you take a look. It doesn't make any sense. It has all the surface appearance of third-degree burn, but with the bruising of a blunt trauma force impact and some of the discoloration around the edges of poisoning. But there's none of the usual compression of the cells around the edge that would normally accompany blunt force trauma. There's also no indication of any punctures or entry wounds that could have delivered the poison. And the heat that would have been required to produce a burn of that intensity should have set his beard on fire.
Well, at least
So it's not making any sense.
this is very weird. But at least it still has its beard intact, which is nice.
So,
Shave it.
Father Theo, what miracle are you attempting?
A healing miracle.
So, healing. Okay, so you have a difficulty number of 10. Your total is modified by his wound penalties. He has 5 wounds.
Yeah, roll 60.
Lord, please bind this heathen's wounds. And shave
I
him.
believe you're lucky
Shave
that
him.
the dwarf has not yet picked up his perks that make it harder to use miracles on him. Am I correct?
I haven't picked up any perks like that.
Okay.
Is it necessary to shave
No,
his
it is
face
not
so
necessary.
we can see? No. Oh, okay,
It's
here
not
comes.
worth running the risk. I think you better have. No. Think how bad it would be if
I mean, the fact is, he is significantly more wounded than his face wound would imply. So there's a -5 to that because of his wounds.
Well,
That currently puts you on a 14. So that is a standard success at the moment.
let's give it some hot possibility action, shall we? He's worth it, my little
yes.
plucky dwarf.
What? Pardon? Hey, I'm worth it? Oh, wow, that's nice, thank you.
So I've got 19 on the first one, and
Is anyone recording this program where he just says I'm worth it?
no, that's not recorded. I'm going to edit that bit out. There'll be
In the
like a
first
bleep.
bit, and your dice roll of 17 in the second bit. If you reduce your skill by 5 in the first box, that deals with your penalties.
Oh, okay. So, okay, in the first box, I'll take 5 off my skill directly, yeah?
Yeah. So I think you're on a 10 then, aren't you?
Correct, Amundo. That's really disappointing, considering.
Well, no, because you'd already reduced it by 5, so you've actually upped it by 6. So it's quite
Okay.
impressive.
Yeah.
So, you pray to the Catholic God. Energy flows down your hand, and strangely, you don't see any change to the wound on his face, because that was the least harmful of the wounds. The 3 wounds that had burned a hand-shaped print into Durak's flesh under his armor, on his torso, however, are healed. Durak, you recover all your shock, you are no longer KO'd, and you have 2 wounds. Your left hand under your gauntlet, where the gaunt man touched your hand, and for now, the reminder of the lurid wound on your face. But you come to see the lights are on, and 2 of your companions are standing over you.
What took you? Did you have a short decision-making process? It took so long.
Well, yeah, we had some difficult decisions to make.
So bring you back alive or not?
So, who did this to you?
Get the vote.
Oh, I fought the Gaunt man by myself solo. I think I won because he's vanished.
Yeah, I think you did this to yourself somehow.
I think you're very heroic.
But if it was the Gaunt man, I'm happy we weren't there.
Yeah, I'll take your finger out of his bum.
I'm sure your ancestors will be singing your
this conversation
songs
elsewhere. And Abram, the word or the name that you...
Oh yeah, I'm not in there, am I? Sorry.
Yeah, you heard that name mentioned.
I'm bursting out.
Something's going to burst out of
you
your
say?
chest. Pardon?
You say?
Pardon? Yeah, I can't hear what you're saying. I actually can't hear what you're saying, Gaz. Sorry.
Who did you say?
Oh, who did I say? The Gaunt man. He was like, that's what he said. He said he was the Gaunt man. And basically, I punched him in the face a few times, and he told me to stop that. So I did because it was hurting me. And then he asked me a couple of questions, and I didn't answer them, and he got very upset. He wanted to know where we were going. I didn't tell him anything, obviously. He says he would heal my mom. Sorry, he was going to do something else, and I says no. And he got upset with that. But it was just, I don't know. It's very strange. I don't know why he went after me. If you
What did
wanted
he?
someone to talk, he would talk to you lot.
Well, you're not stopping talking now. What did he say to you?
I just said. Did I not just say?
Well, he said he asked you questions, but what did he say to you?
Oh no! I said he asked me where we were going.
Did he not say anything to you rather than asking you questions? Was there anything he said to you?
He say something to me.
Information
Hello.
about?
You have been through a trauma, though, so I'm not going to assist you in reminding you because that
Oh,
actually
I hate you.
sort of
He
thing
says,
that I've had an encounter with.
okay, I remember him saying he plays with his food. He doesn't like the other lords. He can't get off the ship, or he won't get off the ship. I probably meant won't get off the ship. I missed one of the answers because I was too busy trying to write down the other ones. And the ghost was given to a friend of his who owned this ship, or an ally. Sorry, an ally, not a friend. He didn't like it when I said he was a friend. Okay, an ally. God, he's so picky on the words. I don't know what was wrong with him. Did he say any? I don't remember him saying anything else. I literally do the player this time doesn't remember anything else.
I see. Durak's a battle-hardened dwarf. You might remember a bit more than that. Of course, it's been recorded, so you can go back and watch it again to make sure. But yes, he did say that he wasn't expecting to find you on this vessel that was the vessel of one of his allies, and that the gaseous horror was his creation.
When I forgot, he had nothing to do with Sam being in the box.
And that it was intended for delivery to another ally.
Oh, I didn't get that bit.
Abram, give us an evidence analysis check.
Who the other allies? From one ally to another ally, then. You mentioned
Yeah.
the ally on the ship. I don't remember the other ally.
Dr. Dick, give us an evidence analysis check.
Didn't pass. Yeah.
They didn't even pass.
I pass rolls tonight.
Okay.
I'm rolling pretty good.
That was a good roll.
Apart from the one I got.
Whether you believe Durak or not, because I got the distinct impression that Dr. Dick doesn't, you start listening to his story and try to verify any of the elements or the facts that he is saying. You question him at length. He describes what he saw, what he encountered, what happened. You're quite interested when he gives you a little bit of information about the sheer amount of possibility energy that this individual was apparently containing or exuding. His limited senses were able to determine. But then you clearly put that again down to concussion as a result of the fact that he says that nothing that this individual was doing was reducing his personal reserve of energy. That flies in the face of all of your theories, including those places where, like, the laws of thermodynamics, which shouldn't really apply to reality mechanics, but you've decided that they do. And if that was true, then your current leading theory would be wrong. Yeah, he tells you that he gave him the finger. Durak, you wince in pain as you do that.
Oh, right.
And
although
Durak
I feel
while giving you the finger.
I feel it was worth it.
Yeah, you feel that possibly, yeah, there's it feels like a break, or at least a dislocation, or at best a torn ligament. And the thing is, as you're doing that, you realise the pain is when you are trying to bring the other three fingers back up. So at this moment in time, it's actually more comfortable for you to have a clenched fist in your left hand with your middle finger not clenched. So giving somebody the finger at the moment until that wound heals is the most comfortable position for your left hand.
Oh, this is so comfortable, Dr. Dick.
And then as he's doing that, you look around and then your eyes drop to the table in front of the two chairs where Durak is sitting.
He left a cup of tea there.
And there is, complete with a saucer and possibly 2/3 of a still relatively warm cup of tea.
I'll take a sniff.
Smelled like tea.
What
Possibly a
kind?
Darjeeling blend. No milk.
He likes to play with his food.
It's like one of the sort of a breakfast teas. No sugar added either. Confusing thing is, one of the things your OCD made you do was to take stock of the stores in the kitchen. Leaf tea was not among the list of items.
I suppose someone could have brought it on board, but
And with an evidence analysis of 20, as you're looking on one edge around the rim of the glass, or of the teacup, you can see a slight imprint, as if to indicate a lip was pressed against it as they sipped from the tea.
Was her black lipstick?
okay. Did anyone here bring tea on board?
Oh, yes.
Oh well.
Got
Did
that.
you also drink the tea? Do you drink tea?
No.
No. Well, then why did you bring the tea if you don't drink it?
I didn't. You said, did someone bring tea? I said yes, and I said it was a Gaunt man.
Oh, well, it sounded like you said it was you.
Oh, this hand is so comfortable.
Meanwhile, in the engineering bay, the seed doesn't appear to be continuing to absorb anything from the environment at this point in time. Once you put it down on the table, Sam, the visions that were assailing you fade, but you look down at the thing and it's almost as if without eyes it's staring back at you. There are lots of the equivalent of 1930s power tools in here, as well as a couple of things that look like they could be used as weaponized arc welders.
Is anyone else here?
It's you and Ryoko.
What should we do with this thing? Well, I'll go for the arc welder then.
It's quite bulky. Appears to run on some kind of acetylene gas. Just give it. If you've got scholar, give us a scholar check. If you've got science, give us a science check. If not, just roll mind. Yeah, you're relatively comfortable with the technology. It appears to be from an era that you're used to. In fact, now you're getting a look around the ship. The whole ship design appears to be an era that you're used to, so you're feeling a bit comfortable. You turn a couple of dials, push a couple of buttons, a couple of sparks come out of the end of this thing, and then you avert your eyes as the tip begins to heat red, then white, and then it's shining sort of like arc welder bright. And you find a sort of an arc welder glass, Okay. Abram gets a notebook, starts frantically writing notes. You've probably got a rough. Yeah, we'll be breaking in a minute. Alexander's just finishing. You've probably got a rough sketch that somebody's made of the Gaunt Man, and Durak is able to accurately identify. First time you've heard any behaviour of him like that. Sam, you, with the black glass in front of your eyes, you just bring the welding torch end down, and there's a awful burning smell. I mean, while this thing looks like a seed and it looks like it's made of wood, it smells like burning flesh. And very quickly, as you apply the heat, from the contact point, it's almost like the underlying wooden nature of it are sort of like blood corpuscles, and it begins to shrivel out from that point, giving off huge amounts of acrid black smoke as you do it. But within maybe 15 seconds, it's shriveled away almost the size of a walnut, with blackened char coating the outside, and you feel like it is destroyed. And Abram finished by double underlining the mention that the Gaunt Man is working with the others, but they are not friends. You do indeed.
Maybe useful information that we can use against them. They're not actually liking each other.
Oh, what I'd more likely like is to find out how we can kill them, because my thing didn't work.
I build up a picture because I know that these things have, like, in my reality, there are several different ways of, or not different ways of killing them, but you've got to unlock different ways of killing them. They can't just be killed. So I assume the Gortman's going to be the same. You need to find his weaknesses, unique weaknesses.
Yeah, I asked him that question. I can't. I love the when Scale puts the recording up. I'm going to listen to all the questions I ask because I can't remember them all. I decided to do a whole stream of them.
You got a lot of questions.
We are finished, but when we're talking here, aren't we?
Are we finished? Do you want me to turn off the stream?
John.
Don't know. We've lost John.
John. Oh.
Yep, we can leave it there. As don't stop the stream just yet, because the day passes, and seems that whatever was infesting the ship is dealt with, and you spend the next few days either, this will determine what we do next week, so I need to do it, heading back to the Brazilian coast to investigate the things you didn't investigate before, adding a day or so to your journey, or 2 days because you have to go there and back again, or continuing onwards to the North African coast, which is another 7 days, but it's up to you. So just let me know now if you're going to go back to investigate the bits in Brazil, the little purple dots, or if you're putting those to the back of your mind and heading on to North Africa.
I want to go back and investigate.
I think North Africa is where we were told to go to. And if we go back, and then we're going to add more time, and I need some healing. I don't know how long it's going to take to heal, though.
You get a healing check every day because you're out of miraculous healing.
If we go back, it'll be good. We'll find out what those thingies were.
1 vote for North Africa. 1 vote for North Brazil.
Sorry, what were the options? I apologise.
So go back at least a day's travel to investigate what the purple dots were signifying in northeast Brazil, or put them at the back of your mind, report them to the Delphi Council, which you've already done, and head onwards to North Africa.
What were we going to North Africa for?
A mission.
What was the mission, though?
Oh, right. Don't ask me.
Well, there were a number of things. You were being transferred to a different active zone, so you're expected to report to the Delphi Council liaison in that area, a Mr. Nakamoto, I believe. But as well as that, Dr. Dick had been personally tasked with seeing if he could find any more of the idols that you found one, and apparently there's at least one other was found off the east coast of India. And your contact, Dr. Zitalis, had informed you that they did have intelligence that a third one was rumored to be somewhere in the Cairo area.
Is these Tarzan ones and stuff? Or is it the
Well,
other
one
big
was
ones for the
Sebek.
statue?
The other one was an idol of Thoth, the Egyptian god of knowledge. The other was Sebek, was the crocodile-headed god of the river, I think he was.
All right,
So,
yeah, it's the lower ones.
unless the whole cyber papacy or Brazil stuff would be related to the mission I have, I'm going to go with North Africa.
Okay. So 1 for cyber papacy, 2 for North Africa.
Oh, it's Alex. Sorry, Ryoko, Abraham, and
Abram.
Sam the picking.
Sorry, what?
Let's go North Africa. Don't look back.
So are you going back to South America next week, or are you continuing on to North Africa next week?
North Africa.
Oh, if you vote Brazil though, we could have a draw and it'd really annoy Durak.
Well,
So if you
I
vote-
would say it depends. It depends on my role, how bad it is.
So what would you? Okay, we could do it that way, because don't forget, odds are always bad because ones are bad. So if you want to go to North Africa and would not want to go to South America, you could decide to roll a d20 and let it decide.
To pick which one's going to be the evens and which one's going to be the odds then, Alex.
Well, the thing is, we are in South America, or?
No, we're in the middle of the...
You're in the mid-Atlantic at the moment. You're a day away from South America. You're 7 days away from where you need to be in North Africa. So you will be adding 2 days onto your journey. Ryoko rolled an even number. Her preference would have been for North Africa. So it's 3 to 1.
First, though, decide whether.
And it's a perfect roll score.
So Abram and Sam. I mean, Sam, you've got a little bit of how the hell did I get here to worry about.
I'm going to go.
I'm not entirely sure what we're doing here anyway, so I'd probably say North Africa because it seems closer to home.
Okay. So it's a 4-1 at the moment. So without counting all the votes to resurrect that particular meme.
No, we need to count all the votes. Who hasn't voted?
We have a clear winner.
That's no good. We've got it.
Abram?
North Africa.
Okay, so it's 5-1, unfortunately, Theo.
Oh.
We can do a little side panel for some, let's say, some additional communication that you might take place to ensure that other people investigate that as well. So, cool. You can stop the stream now.
Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. Sorry for all the Americans we offended as usual.
They're defending themselves of the election at the moment. So.